Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to my channel. I am Thomasin PA2066. Today is 27th of February 2023. I'd like to do a presentation on foreign investment requirement by Malaysia authorities. Let me begin. Hi, welcome to my channel. 146 video taking on foreign investment into properties in Malaysia. Guidelines with the EPU or MIDA. MIDA is Malaysian Investment Development Authority. So I'm Thomasin PA2066. Today is 27th of February 2023. It was a FIC approval before, and in 2009 FIC was actually removed or stopped, abolished. Highlights of the reforms announced by Prime Minister at that time, Dato Sri Najib, in the June 30th, 2009, Foreign Investment Committee deregulation. Deregulation of FIC guideline encompasses acquisition of equity stakes, mergers and takeovers with immediate effect. FIC guideline covering the acquisition of equity stakes, merger and takeover is repealed, and also FIC will no longer process shares transactions nor impose equity conditions on such transactions. I want to highlight to the fact that there is this sentence, FIC also no longer process property transactions. So buying properties by foreigner or foreign investment or foreign interest in Malaysia after this particular being repealed in immediate effect that it was deregulated. Anyway, after the 2009, it was in a way newer guideline, subsequent guideline came out. So later on we will see the 2014 guideline by EPU, Economic Planning Unit under the Prime Minister's Department. So what happened after that, after the 2009 until now 2023 as we speak? So I look back at some of the write-up in the Lexology. This is a good so-called platform that they share the changes in the legal regulation and changes in the whole world. In fact, regions, Australian regions, Malaysia region, I used to subscribe to. They told me the email. I get to read some of the changes, major changes. So this particular one is January 23rd, 2023. Snapshot foreign investment law and policy in Malaysia. So here I just want to highlight since 2009 there was deregulated. There is change in 2014 guideline. So it did away, or now no more need the approval from FIC for buying property. All beyond 1 million no need already, but then more than 20 million which involve issues protecting the right of the Bumiputra, so it still requires FIC. So those companies that comes in having big share by the foreigner and then buying into huge investment, more than 20 million, still need to go through FIC. But those smaller amount, like individual coming to Malaysia buying property, as long as more than 1 million, no need to go through FIC. So what it means to say is it gives the authority of approval to the various state department, because buying property, buying land, it involves the land law, and the land control is a state matter. So the state can control all this purchasing of property by non-Malaysian or foreign interests. So this is more detailed write-up of the same snapshot. So I just attract your attention to a few parts. So the first one is here. I have boxed out. In addition, acquisition of asset by foreign investor may be prohibited. For example, under the guidelines on the acquisition of property issued by the Economic Planning Unit of the Prime Minister's Department, any person with a foreign interest is allowed to purchase all types of properties in Malaysia except for properties valued at less than 1 million ringgit per unit. So this was issued 2014, and in Selangor, certain places actually the foreigner buying into MM2H also need to be above 2 million. Or some places 2 million, some places outskirt a bit is 1 million. And for the commercial and industrial types of property is more than 3 million. So those were issued much by the local state government. But here it says more than a million. The threshold is a million, and built on Malay reserve land and all those things, sure cannot because it has to go under the Malay reserve and restriction. Property allocated in Bumiputra interest definitely is controlled by the government. This shows that the Malaysian government not only limits foreign investor ability to comply to the local participation requirement, but in certain sectors prohibits their participation entirely. So of course Tanah Rizab Melayu cannot Similarly to Sarawak, the native land like the native area land or the interior area land, all these types of land cannot be transacted to a non-native. So non-native definitely include also foreigners. You cannot acquire land in Sarawak if you are not a Malaysian permanently residing in Sarawak. The other part I want to attract your attention is although Malaysia does not have a central regulatory authority because it gives to all the various sector, including the state, because the state controls the land. The Malaysian Investment Development Authority, MIDA. That's why I put out in the earlier slide, also in the title slide, that it involves EPU, Economic Planning Unit, and also this Malaysian Investment Development Authority, MIDA, which oversees the promotion of the manufacturing and services sector in Malaysia. So this MIDA actually promotes to foreign investor coming to Malaysia for manufacturing and industry. Foreign investor intending to make investment in Malaysia may access MIDA's website, which provides extensive information on requirement in the manufacturing and services sectors in Malaysia, and also as applicable incentive available. So these are the issues that recent changes and highlighted. One more thing is that there is this part that there is a Haji Afifi bin Haji Hassan versus Norman Disney and Yang Sendang Berhad. So there is actually some sort of earlier court cases about having to comply. Some companies are formed using the local Bumiputra as to comply, but then actually under the name of the Bumiputra, the control is still in the foreign entity. So in certain court cases, this was uncovered, and later I can show you the decision of the court that says that these types of company that is formed to circumvent the issue of foreigner controlling local interests is actually illegal. So this company actually was actually a company that does consultancy for engineering. So it was illegal, held up by decision of the court to close the company. So this is the case, Haji Afifi bin Haji Hassan versus Norman Disney, Yang Sendang Berhad. Okay, so in this case, the company's business was being carried out in breach of the statutory requirement of the Registration of Engineers Act 1967. Court of Appeal found that the company's director had deceived and misrepresented to the authorities and public that the company was owned and controlled by a Bumiputra, whereas in fact the company was controlled by an Australian company through an elaborate scheme involving the execution of various agreements and the use of power of attorney. So it's like, well, I want to do business in Malaysia, but then you say that you want to control the company as a Bumiputra, must be appointed as a company director. Then we would just get a company director to fulfill those requirements, but actually at the back of the running is still the Australian company. So the court found that the establishment of such company is illegal, as it is against Malaysian public policy, and the agreements were also illegal, and ab initio, illegal from the initial stage, as they were executed to circumvent the statutory requirement of the Registration of Engineers Act. So this is similar like a negotiator running a firm, and then trying to get the registered estate agent, and at the end is the company is not run by the registered estate agent, it's run by the negotiator controlling everything at the back. So this is the illegal firm, illegal company. So on the illegal issue, the court found that if the winding up order was not granted, the company will continue to exist. So in this case, the company was asked to close down. Therefore, the court must act on the illegality, and the winding up order was granted, as the court would not endorse the existence of a company tainted with illegality. So this is an issue when you have a policy that to protect certain quarters, then the business need to run to benefit the certain quarters, and certain people would just be paid to sort of camouflage the company, and this is in law is illegal. So anyway, another write-up from Lexology, which is dated on the October 25th, 2022, about, in brief, regulation of inbound foreign investment in Malaysia. I just want to pick up some of the points here. There is no specific legislation governing the acquisition of assets and general investment by foreign parties in Malaysia, except for the industry-specific compliance requirements such as that is needed for licenses and permits. So that means foreign investor, foreign companies coming to Malaysia, they want to form up a company, they can actually have a fully owned company under Malaysian registration, fully owned by foreigner. And of course, when they want to buy properties, above certain control, certain threshold amount, they can actually fully also own the acquire that property. And this I want to recap. Previously, a restriction existed on the purchase of property worth over 1 million ringgit by the foreign entity, whereas such a purchase require approval from the Foreign Investment Committee, FIC. Now this requirement has been removed, and the National Court of Malaysia have in the past review conducted by parties in seeking to structure investment that are contrary to the law of Malaysia of being highly improper. This was also in the case of another court case. So similarly, the operation of business with 100% foreign equity is now allowed unrestricted. You can own 100% foreign-owned company, except in sectors whereby you have Malaysian or Bumiputra participation. In this case, some of the sectors which involve Bumiputra participation was previously issued. One of the example was given as a logistic company. At one time, it was during Mahathir's time, they wanted to control this logistic company. So a logistic company must have 51% ownership by local Bumiputra participation. But of course, it was not enforced in a way at that time, and due to the COVID and due to the MCO, whereby the logistic business boom and the other businesses were down, so there was a political talk on this issue. Another piece of legislation that applies for foreigner investor is the Promotion of Investment Act 1986. But this is a promotion act. It doesn't really say it is restricting the participation. It promotes the investment. Regulates the promotion such as investment by way of tax rebates and incentive. This is to increase the foreign direct investment. So my subsequent summary on this is that the previous FIC rules was removed, and there is a MIDA, Malaysian Investment Development Authority, in place, and there's under the MITI, Malaysian. The ministry that is doing this last time is Rafida Aziz. Now is Tengku Zafrul. So this is the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, very important ministry to attract investment from overseas. So okay, we go back to the guideline 2014 issued by the EPU of the Perdana Menteri, the Prime Minister's Department. Just to highlight a few things. This one is in BM. Garis panduan ini hendaklah terpakai pada transaksi berikut. Semua perolehan hartanah kecuali unit kediaman yang memerlukan kelulusan unit perancang ekonomi. Here it puts it secara langsung, direct investment on the real estate hartanah. Secara tidak langsung is indirect investment through a company So this one put at 20 million and above. So both are 20 million and above. Then the thing is that the syarikat kepentingan Bumi Putra and agensi kerajaan, you have to go through the department, the EPU, Economic Planning Unit of the Prime Minister Department, to get the approval for the investment into hartanah property, indirect or direct, if it is more than 20 million. Then the other part is that I want to highlight kecuali unit kediaman. So that means this requirement actually exclude residential use property. So if you are foreign investor coming to Malaysia, you want to buy a 20 million bungalow house, it doesn't need to go through the EPU So that is kediaman for residential use. And the thing is that no need to go through EPU anymore for the general purpose. Like here it says that perolehan unit commercial bernilai, the commercial unit that is 1 million and above, and pertanian for agriculture also 1 million and above for the scale or size of 5 acre. For the activity of commercial use as agro-commercial and agro-tourism, and doing businesses that is related to agriculture and agriculture industry and also for any of the industrial use land above 1 million. And the other part is that the pindah milik hartanah kepada warga negara asing atau balasan kasih sayang dibenarkan di kalangan keluarga terdekat sahaja. So this part to translate is to say that if there is a inheritance purpose for property that is to be inherited to a foreigner. For example, I have given an example earlier on children that is renounced citizenship. Let's say a Malaysian grandfather wanting to give to the son and the grandson those property for the family to pass down, but then the children maybe already become British national or Singaporean. Then this part, the passing down as in inheriting the property under the previous rule is FIC has to approve. Now no need already. Pindah milik hartanah kepada warga negara asing, because the children already become foreigner. So this as in earlier video taking on change citizenship or renounce citizenship, I have also mentioned that there is no stopping for a foreign children or foreign son or daughter to inherit from a Malaysian property passed down by the Malaysian parents or family members. Keluarga terdekat sahaja. Here put down keluarga terdekat sahaja. And the other part is the perolehan unit kediaman oleh kepentingan asing bernilai 1 million. So those acquisition by the foreign interest, no need to get this for residential use. No need to get approval anymore. And this relates to the policy of MM2H, buying property in Malaysia by the Malaysian My Second Home program. So let us progress. I highlight this one for residential use more than 1 million, no need anymore. So pengecualian it goes to the lampiran 1 under the same guideline. It's actually quite a lot, but then the main part is Malaysia rumah keduaku, so MM2H, no need to go through FIC, or now there's no more FIC, no need to go through EPU. The other part is inheritance. We said that pindah milik harta tanah kepada warga negara asing mengikut wasiat atau perintah mahkamah by court If got will, then probate and administration. So also for purpose that kediaman untuk residential use, and those who has red IC, these are people who has earlier on already come to Malaysia and before the independence and later on they become Malaysian citizen. Berpastautin tetap permanent resident yang memegang kad pengenalan merah. So permanent resident that holds a red IC. So they are allowed to hold a residential property at the minimum of 250,000 and this exclude Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, Pulau Penang. So to highlight to you that also there is a form jadual 18 Kanun Tanah Negara, the NLC National Land Court, there is a jadual 18. So if you handling transaction of property conveyancing for a foreigner, then this has to be completed and filed into the land office. So here in the case kaedah tanah wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur, this one is for Kuala Lumpur land that is transacting to a foreign person, foreign interest. Then you need to fill in this form, permohonan kebenaran, asking for approval for getting acquisition of property, land for the foreigner, oleh syarikat asing, foreign company, or warga negara asing, or a foreigner. And you can see here it wants to get the information, the name of the person or the company, whatever records. Okay, I'd like to conclude foreign investment guideline. Previously there was the Foreign Investment Committee but abolished in 2009. A new guideline issued 2014 related to mainly many has been exempted, no more need of approval. 20 million and above, yes, you still need to go back 20 million and above, and those which involve the Bumiputra as well as the national interest of the Bumiputra exclude some sectors. Some sectors no need already, like for example the MM2H, some commercial sector, some agriculture one where you want a foreigner investment into building up agriculture industry, and also inheritance where parents pass to children within close family members. And last, I have touched on the Jadual 18, the National Land Court Jadual 18 for filing in to ask for approval for the transfer to a foreign interest. Thank you. I have a few platforms, e-learning system for the board exam, which is estateagentexam.com. Advertising platform, there are two, contract2you.com as well as findway.info. One is for IPI, ranking of property, another for geo linking of businesses, and I collect my videos in My Real Property Online. Thank you for coming to my channel. I'm Thomas PA2066. This is my mobile number and my website addresses. Thank you again.